Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Friday?
Happy it's Friday and looking forward to the weekend of the big games. There's a lot of games. Last night's game was a good one, and we'll have a lot to say about that.
Oh, we're going to break down to the Giants game and a performance that I think a lot of people will be regretting if you're a Giants fan, although I'm sure some people think Daniel Jones played well. We're going to get into that, of course. Also, we have some pretty intense matchups. Chargers, Chiefs. The injury report's not looking good for the Chargers, but we'll see how they turn out, as well as Bills, Ravens. That should be the game of the year. I think it's going to be ramping up to be that. A lot of games to talk about. Week 4 is upon us. But let's jump in to our first topic of today's show, which is indeed last night's game between the New York Football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, as the Giants fall to the Cowboys 20-15. Daniel Jones 29 of 40, 281 passing yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick on a late game Hail Mary to seal the game for the Cowboys. While Dak Prescott played pretty efficiently, 22 of 27, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, passer rating of 125.5. I want to know, though, how impressive was Dallas's very close win? They were 5.5-point favorites at kickoff. How impressive was this win for Dak and the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't think it was that impressive. It was an important win for them. They needed it badly. They just lost 2 games at home. They were 1-2. They needed to get their record back to 500. They were going 1-3. They would have been in really serious trouble, as the Giants are now at 1-3. Only won 20-15. They didn't cover the point spread. It was a kind of a tough, grinded-out game against the Giants. It wasn't anything too spectacular except for that one 55-yard TD pass to CeeDee Lamb. The Giants only rushed for 26 yards. I guess you could say the Cowboys' defense made a comeback here, and the Giants have been rushing reasonably well in the last few games. So say Zimmer and his defense answered the call. Were being severely criticized by their inability to stop the run the past 2 weeks. I guess they answered that call and answered it emphatically. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott got back on the same page for a change. CeeDee Lamb, 7 of 7, 7 catches, 7 targets, 98 yards. That 55-yard TD was impressive. And Dak Prescott, as you mentioned, 22 of 27, 221 yards, 2 TDs. He's 13-0 now against the Giants. 125.5 passer rating was pretty impressive. On defense, I thought some of the players that really helped them, the Cowboys, really dominate the Giants on defense weren't the big names. Overshawn, I thought he was brilliant. He had 8 tackles and a pass deflection. And their first-round draft pick, Mazi Smith, had a big roll holding the Giants to just 26 yards on the ground. So those are 2 big players. I think the serious issue here on the defense is Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence both hurt and left the game with injuries. Parsons, I believe it's his foot.
Yeah,
and
high ankle sprain.
Yeah, and Lawrence was his neck.
He's going to be out a couple weeks.
Yeah. So, that's an issue for them because they're going up. They're going to have some tough games coming up here, and they're only at 2-2. So, I think the Cowboys, they improved on first down. They're previously ranked number 30. Last night, 72% success rate on first down. Reduced the number of obvious passing situations on third down, so that was important. They didn't score a TD in the second half. I think that's an issue. And you say, is it an impressive win? I don't think so. And you don't score any TDs in the second half. They had to rely on Brandon Aubrey, who's been probably their best player in a way in terms of scoring. He can kick a field goal from almost anywhere. The Giants didn't punt until like 2:57 left in the third quarter. So even though Dallas didn't give up any touchdowns, it was kind of a bend, but not break game for them, which was interesting for them. The Giants, on the other hand, their offense couldn't score a TD. You can't win a game without scoring at least a TD or 2. If they had, they might have won the game. They had 5 field goals. They fell to 1-3. I think that the highlight for them and the bright spot for them is Malik Neighbors. He's the first rookie to have 20 catches and 3 TDs in his first 3 games. He was 12 catches on 15 targets last night for 115 yards. Problem there is he got a concussion. So I don't know how long he's going to be out. He did walk off the field, looked okay when he was walking off, but whether he has to take a week or 2 off because of that, I don't know. It's unfortunate. The Giants were successful on 3 of 4 fourth down tries, but they couldn't convert in the fourth quarter when it really mattered the most. Neighbors got the concussion on that catch, tried to get that catch right on the sideline there. Jones was 13 of 15 to start the game. As you said, 29 of 40 for 281 yards. He had 1 interception. He's played better. I think, he's played better, but he's got to find a way when they get close to or in the red zone, they got to score some touchdowns, and that's a problem. Wan'Dale Robinson had a nice game, too, 11 catches on 13 targets, 71 yards. Even Darius Slayton, who had a bad thumb, he was in there. He caught 3 balls for 56 yards and had a nice long catch for 28. Despite no running game, the Giants won the time of possession. They had 35 minutes to Dallas's 24. The defense only got 1 sack. They didn't give up a TD in the second half, with both starting cornerbacks out. So I don't think it was, as you said, was it a big win? It's an important win for Dallas. They had to have the win, but was it a convincing win? I don't think it was impressive. I really don't.
And neither do I. I think on both sides. The impressive part, actually, was how well the Giants played against the team that we all think is very superior to the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys. Because we take a look at last year, you opened up the year against the Giants and you lost 40-0, and then you go up against them later on in the year and you lose 49-17, I believe the score was. So to come out here and keep it very, very close to essentially the entire game, to me, that was the only impressive part of this game. But let's get down to it. Let's strip away all the nice things and let's get to the truth of it. The first thing I'll say is Dak Prescott was good. Was he great? No. Did he leave a lot to be desired? Absolutely. But he did play efficiently. 22 of 27. He had, 293 yards, 5.7 yards to play. The defense that couldn't stop the run did a great job, but it was against Devin Singletary and Tyron Tracy and Eric Gray. Nobody that you would fear really ever. No disrespect, but I don't think that you go up against Devin Singletary, you really want to fear him, or you say, you know what, they're going to run through it and run through us using Devin Singletary. And I'll say it's very, very impressive going from the worst run defense in the NFL to then giving up 1.1 yards a carry. That's pretty good. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. But on the other side, the Giants, they played well defensively, but that's really it. There was way too much left on the field for the Giants, especially offensively. Daniel Jones did great. Dinking and dunking, Wan'Dale Robinson, drag route, short, out, whatever you want to call it. Daniel Jones did great dinking and dunking. You said 13 of 15. Sure. My real problem with the performance was the deep passes. Because there was one beautiful play where, let's look at some film, shall we? This one that went viral instantly, the Malik Neighbors one where he absolutely kills, I believe that's Booth, absolutely kills him on the route. Great double move, and that's a great pass, although my only real critique is if you throw it more leading him, that probably could go for a touchdown. But my major problem with the way Daniel Jones played was the amount of deep balls left on here. This is a free play. Just chuck it. Underthrown pass. That's a touchdown waiting to happen. Nobody's even near Darius Slayton. And you know what? This was another pattern. Again, rolling. There's spacing. Daniel Jones fires it. This should have gotten picked off. But you know what? It's unfortunate. 2 Cowboys ran into each other. Couldn't get the interception. This one, again, there's spacing there. Throw the football. Underthrown pass. And this one, I'm not really going to hate. He's moving. Who is that? It's Wan'Dale Robinson. A little bit short. But there were these plays that could have changed the game for the Giants, opportunities to be had. And you know what? I'm going to give props. I don't know whether to give props to the Dallas Cowboys for this or to absolutely be ripping the Giants. But coming into this game, the Dallas Cowboys were dead last in red zone percentage on defense. They gave up a touchdown 90% of the time in the red zone. So teams against them, 9 out of 10 trips, they scored. The Giants went 0 for 2 in the red zone. That's bad. Against a red zone defense that is terrible so far this season, the Giants couldn't score a single time in the red zone. So that, I don't know where you want to put the blame. To me, it doesn't really matter. I think the fact that you could say both sides. The Giants were bad offensively in the red zone, and the Dallas Cowboys did a good job keeping them out of the end zone. One good thing Daniel Jones did was he's doing an Aaron Rodgers-esque thing of the hard count. He did a great job with the hard count. Several penalties, and that's another thing. Al Michaels went viral because he was commenting on how many penalties there were. I mean, every single play, it seemed like there was a penalty. In the first half, I think the Giants had 3 penalties for 25 yards, and the Cowboys had like 8 or 9 for 70 yards. I mean, at that point, we're just waiting for a ref to call another penalty, and actually, that's basically what the game was: penalty after penalty after penalty. So that's bad coaching. That's undisciplined play. But for me, I'm not putting a lot of blame on Daniel Jones. This game was close. They each played well. Was it exciting? No. Was it a defensive game? Yes, which makes, honestly, the Giants' performance a little bit better because the Cowboys, we look at them as a more superior team, although we have to realize that going to this year so far, what we've seen is a bad run defense, but they stepped it up in this game. So, to me, I'm not impressed with either side. Dallas Cowboys could have done a lot more offensively. Defensively, they did a good job. And the Giants, they held CeeDee Lamb to not do much, although Deonte Banks did get absolutely smoked the entire game. Gave up, I think, 74 or 76 yards and a touchdown. He did not have a good game, although he was covering CeeDee Lamb. It's a very difficult task to guard an all-pro like CeeDee Lamb. But to me, this shows that the Cowboys, they're not looking like a playoff team. They're not looking like a division winner. People were saying that they could be going to the Super Bowl this year. No. Dak Prescott's getting paid $60 million. And last year, you blew out the Giants twice. You opened the year with a 40-0 piece.
Yeah. I think for the Giants, they can, if you can take a positive away from a loss, it's that playing against Dallas, they didn't get blown out this time.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they were getting beat by 30 points a game in the 2 games they played. So to lose by 5 and cover the point spread, that's a little bit of a positive, but they're 1-3. They're 1-3. I mean, their season is it's hanging in the balance here now. I mean, if they lose a couple more games, forget it. They ain't gonna have a chance at the playoffs. So they gotta pick it up, and it's not getting any easier for them. Don't they have Seattle next week?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. Seattle's undefeated, and Dallas, they have
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
That's going to
be a tough
Pittsburgh
at
too.
Pittsburgh too. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tough game for them. So I think there's more parity in the NFL. I mean, a lot of games are closer. Seems like the defenses are stronger. The points per game, most the Bills lead the league with 37.3 points a game, but many other teams much lower. I mean, you look at the Ravens. They're playing, and we're going to talk about that game next. They're number 11 with only 23.7 points a game. So, it seems like the scoring is down a little bit. The passing, the quarterbacks are a lot of games where they don't throw for even 200 yards. Not many touchdowns thrown. I don't know. Is the game getting a little boring?
I'm not sure, but what I do know is that Kirk Cousins no longer has the title of worst primetime player because Daniel Jones now moves to 0-13 in games played on Thursday or Monday.
Yeah.
So when he's that solo game where the spotlight is really on him, he doesn't perform. Like I said, 0-13 doesn't have a single win. So I don't love that. But I will say Tyler Guyton, again, penalties galore. We talked about that in the pregame to this on Tuesday. He's going to have a serious issue with penalties. That showed again in this game. Cooper Beebe, interior offensive lineman for the Giants, did a great job against Dexter Lawrence. I think he had 1 pressure at the very most. Brian Burns was a no factor in this game. I think he generated 0 pressures. I mean, the Cowboys offensive line did a pretty good job against some pretty ferocious pass rushers that the Giants do have. Because remember, that's the big move that the Giants made in the offseason was getting Brian Burns, building in the trenches. What I also will say is that what Brian Daboll is trying to do in this season with Daniel Jones being the play caller, we heard in the offseason how he wants Daniel Jones to push the ball down the field. And that's where Jones keeps coming up short. Because it seems like, and we even saw that CeeDee Lamb do this, all it is a simple hitch for Malik Neighbors, quick turnaround, and just get him the ball and see how many yards after the catch he can get. He's not really a deep threat in the case of...
As you showed, he underthrows the ball. He underthrew the ball on all of these plays here.
This one's bad. Free play.
It could have been a touchdown.
It's wide open, too. Yeah. It's even on the Malik Neighbors catch. I mean, all these are just bad underthrows. This one's cross field, so I don't know how much you... But again, like that should have been picked off.
Yeah.
That should have been intercepted. This one, again, there's spacing.
That one definitely.
I mean, and this one I'm not going to hate entirely. And obviously there was one to the Malik Neighbors on the sideline, which he face planted into the turf that got him concussed. That actually would have been a hell of a catch if he could hold on to that and get his feet down. But I think overall, this offense that Brian Daboll wants to play of pushing the ball down the field, it just isn't working. Failures in the red zone, can't score touchdowns. I mean, great job for Giants kickers. I mean, it sucks that Graham Gano is banged up. Otherwise, if you had him on your fantasy team, he'd be getting like 20 points a game because that's all the Giants seem to be doing is kicking field goals. So who knows what the Giants are going to look like moving forward, but they do have a pretty decent competition ahead because, like you mentioned, the Seahawks are coming. They're actually going to Seahawks, which makes it even worse. The Seahawks have the number one graded defense on Pro Football Focus, and I think it's going to be a pretty tough matchup because after that, you're home against the Bengals, Eagles, at Steelers. The next 4 games, it's going to be pretty brutal. There is a very decent shot the Giants end up being 1-7 by the time, and even Washington's good now. Carolina, we'll see how Andy Dalton looks this week against the Bengals. I mean, 5-12 that we originally predicted. And once again, I'm not fully blaming Daniel Jones here. There was a bad drop / kind of poorly thrown ball to Slayton. I believe it was on a 4th down play. He had to reach over to his left on a comeback, whatever the case may be. But there are plays out there that need to be made that Jones just isn't making. They need a more consistent quarterback. While he looks pretty good now, the past 2 games he played better, it just isn't good enough. Yeah. Deshaun Watson nearly came back last week.
It'd be nice if they had Saquon Barkley.
It would be very nice because he's absolutely terrible.
They would have a bit of a running game, which they don't have now.
Well, who knows?
26 yards.
Yeah.
26 yards.
1.1 yards an attempt. It's bad. Very, very bad. Let's get into our next topic here. This could be the game of the week, game of the year maybe. It's the Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens. The Bills coming off a dominant win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, I believe on Monday Night Football, 47-10, while the Ravens nearly choked a 22-point lead against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 3, but were able to hold on to the lead and win 28-25. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry leading the way, while James Cook and Josh Allen were maestros against the Jaguars. I want to know, though, the Ravens look a little bit better after especially establishing that run game against the Dallas Cowboys, while the Bills have stayed consistently dominant throughout the entire season. So I want to know, do you think the Ravens will slow down the Buffalo Bills so much so that the Ravens could take over this game and win, or do the Bills move to 4-0?
Well, I look at this game and say it's the battle of the top-ranked quarterbacks. You got Josh Allen, who's ranked number 1. Bills are 3-0. He hasn't thrown an interception. He's actually throwing fewer passes, which I think is a good thing. I think that the balanced game there with the run and the pass is helping him and helping the team. Jackson ranked number 3, 70% completion rate in Week 3. Only needed 12 completions for 182 yards and a TD. Had 87 yards on the ground rushing and another TD. Helped a lot by Derrick Henry, again, that running game. He had 151 yards last week. That helps out Lamar Jackson a lot. You look at the offenses of these two teams, the points per game, Buffalo's number 1 with 37.3. The Ravens number 11, 23.7. But interestingly, total yards, the Buffalo number 13 at 329, and the Ravens number 1, 430 yards a game. The yards per play, 6.1 for the Buffalo, 6.6 for the Ravens. That's Bills number 4, Ravens number 1. Third down efficiency, 41% for Buffalo, that's number 9. 41% for Ravens, that's number 10. And TDs per game, Buffalo 4.7, and the Ravens, that's number 1, and the Ravens 2.7, that's number 6. So it looks like the Buffalo has a little bit stronger offense here. But the Ravens, in my mind, in the first 3 quarters of every game, they look like the Super Bowl contenders. They look like world beaters. Their problem is the terrible fourth quarters that they have. Can they stop Buffalo in the fourth quarter? That's going to be key. Buffalo near perfect against the Jaguars. Allen leading MVP candidate. Baltimore 20-3 in primetime games. That's big. Allen has the highest passer rating right now in the league at 133.7. Can the Ravens run wild like they did against Dallas? The Bills use 5 defensive backs but surrender only 3.4 yards per carry. I don't think that defense will work against the Ravens with Derrick Henry, the battering ram back there, and Lamar Jackson, who can run at any moment. I think they're going to have to switch that up, and I think that's a weakness for the Bills. The Bills' starting linebackers, 2 of them, Bernard and Milano, are both out of this game. That's going to hurt. Will Baltimore solve the fourth quarter woes? They've been outscored 35-7 in the last 2 games. They lead the league in penalties. That's a problem, and they get a lot of penalties in the fourth quarter. Allen has 13 fourth-quarter comebacks in his career. This one's kind of a toss-up. I have a very hard time picking this one. I think Baltimore being at home is a factor here, and a mile plus that may get the Ravens over the top.
So you're going Ravens here.
Yep.
I'm on the other side of this. I'm fully buying into the Bills. I understand through the first month of the season, it's always the Bills are looking like Super Bowl contenders. And then as you go throughout the year, Josh Allen makes some mistakes. It doesn't look that great. They go on a little bit of a dry spell. We're questioning whether or not, they can make it far. Then the playoffs come, and then they always fall apart to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think that this Bills team is completely different. Josh Allen looks different. The offense looks different. The defense is playing well, even with Matt Milano out. I mean, there are some big-time injuries that they're dealing with so far that it doesn't really matter because everybody's stepping up and doing their job. But when it comes to the offense, that's the major key here because we went to the season looking at all the losses that they had and like, okay, well, they lost their top 2 receivers, a bunch of offensive linemen. On defense, they lost defensive linemen and linebackers. They lost their safeties. They lost cornerbacks. They lost a bunch of pieces. Oh, no, they're going to be losing record 9-8. At least that's what the original prediction was. And then we look at them now, and it's like, okay, their defense is really good. Their defense is stopping offenses. While the offense, it can't be stopped. They have 37 points a game. What? With guys who are just Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, I'm forgetting. There's several other low-name receivers. MVS is one of them. But then we take a look at what the offensive scheme is, and it's James Cook at like 54% run rate. They're not passing it as much. It's less Josh Allen reliant. And what we've seen over Josh Allen's career is very high touchdowns, but also very high turnovers. Like I've been saying, the modern-day Brett Favre, just with a little bit less turnovers. But what the good side of now the Joe Brady offense is that you're keeping the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, putting it into James Cook's hands, and then only using the Superman Josh Allen when it needs to be shown, a.k.a. Week 1 against the Cardinals when you're down 17-3, and you threw it, I think, 2 times with 2 minutes left in the first half. Then Josh Allen becomes Superman. You eventually come back. Your defense holds up against Kyler Murray on a late game, potential game-winning drive, and you end up winning Week 1. So I think what the Bills have done so far has been great. My only concern is that the way that the Ravens play, where they throw it over the field much more than teams, a lot of teams like to throw it towards the end zone and throw it towards the side. The Bills capitalize on those types of throws. They don't do very well over the middle throws, dinking and dunking. The Ravens actually, they're the biggest dink and dunk team so far this season. But I think when it comes down to it, who's the better quarterback? And right now it has to be, and I don't think it's very arguable to say that at this current moment that Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL. It's not Mahomes. Mahomes is not playing that well this year so far. And I think when it comes down to it, the better quarterback is the guy who will get it done when it matters the most. Lamar Jackson, unbelievable runner. Absolutely unbelievable runner. Josh Allen, also an incredible runner. But I think what it really amounts to is the amount of respect that each quarterback has for each other. And I think Josh Allen is much more vocal about it. But yeah, let's take a listen to what Josh Allen had to say about facing Lamar Jackson, because I do think it's very telling to know just how far Lamar Jackson came from where he is at now, and how much a lot of these quarterbacks and how many of these teams actually fear Lamar Jackson, even though his talent has never really been up to par amongst the other top teams. But yeah, let's take a listen to Josh Allen and what he had to say about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an inspiration to a lot of people in this country. The way that he plays the game, the doubters that he had coming out and asking to switch positions early on, and then for him to show the resiliency and the the work ethic and the attitude to go forward and win 2 MVPs. Guys around the league, they see that. He's really changed the way that I think guys play the game. But make no mistake about it, he can throw the snot out of the football. And got a lot of respect for him, a lot of love for him. Love watching him play because every play is never dead with him. You know, he's got a crazy ability to keep plays alive and make guys miss and then get the ball downfield. So yeah, he's a special player.
I think that's 100% true. He's an incredibly special player. But I think the key to victory, the Ravens have the worst pass defense in the NFL. Even though they have some very, very talented defensive backs, they are the worst pass defense in the National Football League. So Josh Allen needs to get away from the run. I think Joe Brady's going to incorporate more passing plays and then use Josh Allen to scramble when the Ravens get the threat of the pass and then take advantage of that when it comes down to it. But establishing the run, the Ravens are kind of they're actually the number 1 rush defense in the entire NFL, which that makes sense because teams could just throw the ball against them anyway. So
you're not worried about the Bills' injuries on defense, particularly the 2 linebackers being out?
Well, what's it called? Bernard's been out, I think, for the last week or so. So I'm not insanely worried about that. They got a cornerback back this week. Let's see if I can. Khair Elam. I probably pronounced that wrong, but I think I'm not worried at all. This defense seems like it's a next man up type of defense because we were worried about Trey White being gone and Jordan Poyer being gone. We were worried about a bunch of these guys, Leonard Floyd being gone. Matt Milano got hurt before the year, and we're like, oh no, the Bills, they're dropping like flies. These guys are leaving. These guys are, going to different teams. What are they going to do? And the Bills have just established a next man up. And I think it helps a big time, and it might not work in this game, where it comes down to time of possession. Now, the Bills, for some reason, their rushing attack just has worked so beautifully that just kill the clock hasn't really worked because they're able to get the ball downfield so effortlessly that they score basically instantly anyway. So I think this time it'll be a more time of possession-based game. Bills will take advantage of that. I actually have a decently low-scoring game. I don't know if 24-21 is considered low-scoring to you, but that's what I think it's going to be. It's going to be one of the Chiefs-Chargers or Chiefs-Bengals, Chiefs-Buffalo games. Very, very close. Comes down to a late mistake or a game-winning drive. I got the Bills here. I just think Josh Allen will get it done when it matters the most.
I think the Ravens are going to win because I think they're going to run it down the Bills' throats. I think the defensive scheme of the Bills with 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers, starting linebackers out, is going to open the door for Derrick Henry. He's going to pound the ball. They're going to have control the ball. They're going to keep Josh Allen off the field with ball control and long drives with lots of running and a little bit of passing. And when Henry can't get it done, Lamar is going to take his place. So I think it's going to be a wake-up call for the Bills on defense. I do think it's going to be very close, and I don't think it's going to be very high scoring. But I think that, as I said, it's very close, and it's hard to pick. I think being at home for the Ravens is going to help them, and I think they get over the top there and cover the 1.5 point spread.
Well, there it goes. Buffalo, Ravens, it's going to be a hell of a game. Sunday Night Football. That's what the NFL needs. The really good matchups when they're in prime time, the perfect time to watch. These Thursday games, sometimes even the Monday games.
They've been pretty good, the Thursday games, except the Patriots-Jets was a lousy game.
Yeah, I'm not. I think they were hoping that Drake May would be the start at that point and have that storyline.
The Giants, Dallas was a pretty good game.
You thought that was a good game? It was a defensive game.
Yeah, but it was okay.
This week,
it was close.
This week we have a couple duds. Monday night is Tennessee-Miami. That's not a great game. But Will Levis against either Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley, or Tim Boyle. And then Seattle-Detroit, I think that actually might be a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these primetime games, Amazon, they're getting some of the worst games possible. There's so many just bad Thursday games. So the NFL having Sunday Night Football be some of the top teams in the NFL, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson and the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, should be a hell of a game to watch. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we make our Week 4 picks as well as another winning week. Can I keep going with my winning weeks? Oh, my Harvey Hot Hand. We'll talk about that right after this.
Traveling can be a nightmare.
Whether you're just discovering your voice or taking your show to the next level, you know what the world needs to hear. All you have to do is say it. With Spotify, set up your podcast. Your food podcast. Your mindfulness podcast. Your never thought you'd get this far podcast. and watch those sparks fly.
I put a picture of the comic.
Drop the episode anywhere people listen and find out who they're cooking with, where they're finding inner balance, and why they love your show. You're already a creator. Now you can create, connect, and get paid for your passion with one single free tool. Spotify for podcasters. Talk where the world listens.
Traveling can be a nightmare. Why? You can't watch your favorite shows abroad. You can't trust public Wi-Fi spots anymore. And when you return, roaming bills kill your vibe. Unless you get a NordVPN and Saley deal. NordVPN will increase your privacy online. And Saley, a global eSIM data app, will save you from those unexpected roaming charges. Grab the 2-year NordVPN deal with 76% off and get up to 20 gigabytes Saley eSIM data gift.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It's great to have you in today on a Friday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our Week 4 picks. As always, we do this every single week throughout the NFL season. We make our weekly picks. I always begin. Had an even week this week, 8-8 in week 3. Winning record in the win-loss. Still got a bounce-back point spread, but this time it's going to be fun, so let's jump into it. The first game, obviously, Cowboys-Giants. We covered that earlier on in the show. Giants were able to actually cover the 5.5 point spread, which I actually predicted they would. I thought this game would be much closer than what a lot of people were thinking. The Cowboys do end up getting the win. That's always a good start to the week. The next one is going to be the Bengals and the Panthers. Now, I'm picking the Bengals to win this game. I think the fact that they are 0-3 right now, Joe Burrow having a private conversation with Zach Taylor, probably telling him, I'm trying my best out here. You got to give me some help. Otherwise, you got to trade someone. Give me some pieces. My defense is atrocious, which that's why I'm having the Panthers cover the 4.5 point spread. Andy Dalton, 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, first quarterback this season to do it. In his first game, again, another 300-yard game, multiple touchdowns, and only one appearance for the Panthers. He's done that now for 2 consecutive seasons. I'm looking at another really good performance from Andy Dalton against probably one of the league's worst pass defenses. I got the Bengals winning in a close one, but the Panthers do cover the plus 4.5 point spread. The next one's Broncos at Jets. Now, I was really considering having the Broncos cover here because what Pat Surtain's doing to these top receivers like DK Metcalf, shutting them down, basically rendering them useless. But I know Aaron Rodgers loves Allen Lazard. We saw that against the Titans where it was just dink and dunk to Allen Lazard and then eventually scoring as well. We saw that against the Patriots. That's really where we saw him against the Patriots, really cooking up on the short passes, and I think that's what we're going to see. He's going to go to his secondary receivers. Mike Williams is probably going to get some action. Tyler Conklin's going to do well. I think Allen Lazard will have a touchdown in this game. Aaron Rodgers should look like the Aaron Rodgers we know, although the Broncos did just come off a great win against the Buccaneers. I'll take the Jets, though, to win and cover a pretty hefty point spread nowadays. I know it's only a little bit more than a touchdown, but in today's NFL, so much parity, I don't feel great about a minus 7.5 point spread, although the Jets are the far superior team over the Broncos. The next one, the Saints at the Falcons. I believe in the Saints. They just got absolutely... Now, the score didn't say they got blown completely to pieces by the Philadelphia Eagles, but for the morale of the team, Jesus, can you score points? Can you not only kick field goals? Can we get Alvin Kamara going? Can we get Derek Carr to look at least like a competent quarterback again? I mean, it was just an embarrassing show to a Philadelphia defense that has not performed very well throughout the entire season, and the Saints could do a big fat goose egg against them. Absolutely nothing. Now, the center for the Saints is banged up. I don't love it, but the Falcons have the worst pass rush rate in the NFL. I believe in Derek Carr. He'll bounce back. Alvin Kamara, get him going. Chris Olave, I believe, is playing in this game. I believe in the Saints. I have them winning and upsetting the Atlanta Falcons. I just think the Saints pass rush 2 on defense. They got to get going. Right now, the Falcons are dealing with their own injuries on the offensive line. Get Kirk Cousins under pressure. Make him make mistakes. I'll take the Saints to win. The next one, this is also a phenomenal matchup. The Vikings at the Packers. Jordan Love right now is a game-time decision and is questionable, while Sam Darnold has been absolutely lighting up the NFL, leading the league in touchdown passes. What Kevin O'Connell has done for Sam Darnold's career is kind of what Kyle Shanahan also saw, try to revitalize his career and revive it from the dead after he was kind of blown out of New York and then blown out of Carolina. It's time for Sam Darnold to absolutely cook, and he has done that to an incredible extent. I'll take the Vikings to win here. Brian Flores' defense. We've seen two back-to-back quarterbacks that we think are great in Brock Purdy and C.J. Stroud say, he was throwing stuff at me I've never seen before. They are one of the most blitzed. They have the most blitzes in the NFL. They keep quarterbacks completely under pressure. I think if Jordan Love does play, he definitely won't be 100%. He'll feel the pressure, make some mistakes. I'll take the Vikings to win and upset the Green Bay Packers and obviously cover a +3 point spread. The next was Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. What do we always say? What's the common saying? Good teams who get blown out and embarrassed normally bounce back the next week, and that's exactly what happens. We don't think the Jaguars are a very good team. They haven't proved it. Meanwhile, the Texans, on the other hand, they have looked like a good team. What we've seen from the Jaguars the last 8 games is they're winless. Trevor Lawrence has a 50% completion percentage. He doesn't look that great. In fact, he looks absolutely terrible. He's getting paid $55 million a year. Paid a little bit too early? Maybe. Probably. Paid a little bit too much? Maybe. Probably. But the Texans are going to bounce back here. I think they're absolutely going to blow out the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just can't score. The Jaguars have no offense. They can't get anything going. Trevor Lawrence looks lost. He's not seeing the field very well. C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback on third down. Passes beyond the sticks. He's number 1 in the league. He's done an absolutely incredible job now for 2 straight years. I think he'll keep it up. Yeah, he's had a couple bad throws here and there. But overall, I think the Houston Texans will get it done and win and cover a 6.5 point spread. The next one, the Steelers -1.5 point favorites on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. I'll get the Steelers here. That defense is going to wreak havoc on an offensive line that has held up decently well, but it's really self-inflicted wounds when it comes to Anthony Richardson, who leads the league in interceptions. He is not accurate with the football. He has a 50% completion percentage, around 50% completion percentage. He is one of the lowest graded quarterbacks by Pro Football Focus, and passer rating-wise, I believe he is the worst quarterback in the NFL. He has not played very well thus far throughout the season. I'll take the Steelers' defense primarily to dominate, to pressure, to disrupt anything the Colts could try to throw at them. Offensively, I'll take the Steelers to win and cover the -1.5 point spread on the road. The next one, the Rams +3 point underdogs on the road against the Chicago Bears. And I'll take the upset here. A lot of upsets for this week's episode of the Harvey Hour and this week's picks. I understand the Rams are battered and bruised, but they took that battered and bruised team that was basically held together by duct tape and somehow came back against a 49ers team that was banged up, but one of the receivers, Juwan Jennings, was absolutely going off. So the Rams are able to come back against a very, very good team, and I think going up against the Chicago Bears, who offensively, they're inept because the Colts were literally giving them the game. Anthony Richardson threw 0 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions. I think he had a 50% completion percentage. All the offense needed to do was Caleb Williams not have a couple overthrows on some deep passes. They couldn't run the football at all. I think with the Rams getting healthier and it's Matt Stafford, go with the better quarterback. I'll take the Rams in an upset over the Chicago Bears and obviously cover the +3 point spread. The next one, the revenge game from last year. The Eagles at the Buccaneers. I'll take the Eagles to win here. Now, this point spread has moved all over the place from -2 to -1.5 to -2.5 again. At the time we made the graphic, it was -1.5. It might be up to -2.5, but it doesn't matter. Even if they win by a field goal, we'll be perfectly fine. But I'm taking the Eagles to take over here and win this game against the Buccaneers. The Bucs could not stop Bo Nix. After Bo Nix had a pretty bad start to his NFL career, while the Eagles, they just had a great game against the Saints team that crushed the Dallas Cowboys. The defense finally showed up. Saquon Barkley is obviously the key player for the Eagles right now. A.J. Brown, he's questionable right now, but it seems like he's coming back, while Devontae Smith is actually out for this game, but I don't think it'll matter. Antoine Winfield for the Bucs is out. I think this will be a heavy ground and pound game for the Philadelphia Eagles because a couple of their defensive linemen for the Bucs, like Cansey, I believe his name is, he's going to be out for this game. I'll take the Eagles to win here, cover a -1.5 point spread, and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next one, the Patriots at the 49ers. It's a -10.5 point spread. If I'm not mistaken, that's the highest point spread we've had so far, and I'll take the 49ers to cover the point spread. George Kittle's back. Brock Purdy is cleared and healthy. We'll see what we have about Deebo Samuel. Looks like CMC is going to be out for a couple more months, but I don't think that matters because the Patriots' offensive line is probably the worst in the NFL, and Jacoby Brissett may be one half of football left of being the starting quarterback of the New England Patriots. I think Drake May honestly might be in there the entire fourth quarter because I think it will get that bad where the 49ers just blow out the New England Patriots, generate so much pass rush that Jacoby Brissett can do nothing offensively, which will happen even if they don't get to him. Jacoby Brissett just has not done a great job so far. He had one okay, questionable game against the Cincinnati Bengals, where it was a very strange game and kind of what we've seen from the Bengals before, where they don't do a good job early in this season. But I will take the 49ers. Obviously, they're the better team times 10, times 50, times 100 compared to the New England Patriots. They cover a minus 10.5 point spread. The next one is the Commanders at the Cardinals. This one actually was pretty difficult, but I'm going with the more balanced team, I think, in the Arizona Cardinals. I think when we look at the Washington Commanders, their defense has a lot left to be desired, and I think right now, with the way the Cardinals are playing, they're going to take advantage of that. This will be a very high-scoring game, just like the Bengals were. Two bad defenses against two really good offenses. I think it'll be similar to this game, but I think when it comes down to it, I think Kyler Murray will make a couple big-time plays. Marvin Harrison Jr. will have a very, very good game. James Conner in the backfield will also have a very, very good game. And I just think the Jaden Daniels, while he had a great game last week, I think he'll find it pretty difficult to catch up and keep up with the Arizona Cardinals. I'll have them win and cover a minus 3.5 point spread. This one I probably should have changed, but I feel like I'm going to keep it. The Chiefs at the Chargers. Historically, it says that this game is going to be close, but the last time these teams played, the Chargers got blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs. And we take a look at the injury report. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, Joey Bosa. It's pretty bad. The injury report's not looking good for the Los Angeles Chargers. While Justin Herbert, he's questionable for this game. He re-aggravated the high ankle sprain. But I think Jim Harbaugh will be able to dial something up. Mahomes doesn't look right. Now, is this the launch pad game where Mahomes goes back into his normal self? I'm not too sure. And also, Derwin James is suspended for this game. I think when we look at it, Jim Harbaugh's going to do something. That's really my only reasoning for it. If Justin Herbert's out there, they'll try to run the ball because offensively, they're going to need to get it out fast. You can't let Justin Herbert get injured again. They're going into a bye week. Should they play Justin Herbert? Probably not. Will they? Most likely, yeah. But I think the Chiefs are going to win this game no matter what. I probably am wrong saying that the Chargers would cover, but I think Jim Harbaugh will draw something up defensively. They are one of, if not the best defense right now in the NFL. He's done a great job flipping the script and the narrative on the Chargers defense. I'll have the Chiefs winning, but the Chargers covering a plus 7 point spread. The next one. Now, this point spread changed, but I got it in before it completely changed. As soon as the news that Davante Adams and Max Crosby are going to be out for this game, I instantly flipped it because there is no way in hell. And the reason why I had the Raiders originally winning this game was because the two Browns tackles, they're going to be out for this game. So Max Crosby would have absolutely wreaked havoc on the Browns offense and on Deshaun Watson. But now that their best pass rusher is going to be out for this game, I'm saying Deshaun Watson gets it done. I think what we saw at the beginning of the Giants game was, okay, Deshaun Watson's playing well. And in the very, very late in the game, they had 3 opportunities where Deshaun Watson couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He was shooting darts in the dark, trying to hit a dartboard that's 50 miles away. And he keeps missing and missing and missing. I think it'll be a little bit different. I think where it comes down to it, the Raiders are just not a very good team. According to Pro Football Focus, they're the worst graded secondary in the NFL. They have no running game. They're not a good offense. Gardner Minshew couldn't see the field last week. I think it's going to be similar. Browns get the win here, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch Deshaun Watson at least have 1 or 2 good games throughout the rest of his time for the Cleveland Browns, which I think if it wasn't for the money, he probably would be gone by the end of this year. The next one we talked about this game, Bills at Ravens, Sunday Night Football. I think the way that Josh Allen's playing and this offense is playing for the Buffalo Bills, it's incredible. Their defense is next man up after losing so many good defensive players, at least we thought so many good defensive players that have played well for the Buffalo Bills, and it's been pretty impressive to watch. Josh Allen under this new scheme with Joe Brady that they had for about half the year last year, has shown to be a very, very good offense for the Buffalo Bills for Josh Allen. Run the ball significantly more, tone down the turnovers, turn up the production. It's a great thing to watch. James Cook, I think, will have a pretty good game, although the Ravens defense, they're definitely going to do something against the run, but they are the worst pass defense in the NFL. We could see Josh Allen have 300 yards and multiple touchdown passes, and even maybe 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns when it comes down to it, because I think this will be an opportunity for Josh Allen to reignite the flame of Superman Josh Allen, which he very well might need in order to pull out this win. But I do think the Bills get the upset here, and they obviously cover a plus 2.5 point spread. The next one, the Titans are underdogs against the Miami Dolphins. I don't love that. I think the major thing for the Titans is Will Levis, the amount of self-inflicted wounds he's put on this Titans team has really been their deficit. They've had so far 2 games where they look good, and then Will Levis makes a dumb mistake that cost his team the game. Against the Bears, it was a couple interceptions and a horrible pick 6. Against the Jets, it was flipping the ball back. Basically, when you're driving down to maybe go up 10 against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, have an opportunity to win there, or at least go up a decent amount. And it's Will Levis just creating bad decisions, making bad decisions, and really costing his team the game. I think when it comes down to it, though, it'll be a quarterback battle. It's Will Levis versus Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle or Tyler Huntley. I think when it comes down to it, yeah, Will Levis is not really a good quarterback at all. But against those quarterbacks, I think he'll be better than them. I'll take the Titans to upset here. I don't know how the hell they're not favored in this game, the Titans. I mean, the Seahawks are only 4.5-point favorites, and they only allowed 3 points. So I'm taking maybe this is a mistake by Vegas and the bettors, but I'll take the Titans to upset, quote-unquote upset, the Miami Dolphins here. And finally, I thought about picking the Seahawks to cover this game. But I am picking the Lions to win and cover. I think when it comes down to it, weather won't be a factor in this game. Jared Goff does not play well in cold conditions. He plays much better when it's nice and domey or just in nice weather. And I think when really it matters, I think what the Lions have done recently, Dan Campbell making a little bit too many mistakes, accepting accountability for it, very bad loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need a bounce back. They haven't looked good. They're my Super Bowl pick. They have not looked good this season. They do not look Super Bowl capable whatsoever, but I do think this will be a ground and pound game against what Pro Football Focus ranks as the number 1 defense in the entirety of the NFL. I think Jared Goff will get it done. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, run the football, thunder and lightning. I'll take the Lions to win and cover. Those are my Week 4 picks. Like I said last week, 8-8. On both the point spread and the win-loss. I got to bounce back in the point spread. Harvey Hot Hand, though, we got some good picks, I think. A risky, but I think good picks. But yeah, those are my Week 4 picks. Overall, before you jump in, hate them, love them, indifferent about them?
Well, I didn't know about the Max Crosby and Adams being out of that game.
I will give you an opportunity to change if you would like.
Okay, I'll think about it. When I get there, I'll make my decision.
All right.
I think your pick's interesting. I think the Titans one, I think that's a pretty high risk one on that
really?
pick. Yeah, I mean, even though the Miami doesn't have a quarterback, they are playing at home, and the Titans are terrible. They got the power rankings number 32, they're last in the league. So I think I don't know. Well, you'll see my picks. We differ on some here.
Good.
And let's go. All right. So last night I won the game, but lost on the point spread. We talked about that game. The Bengals at the Panthers. I like the Bengals too. Their power ranking is 21, and the Panthers is 31. Although they may have found something with Andy Dalton starting. Was it really Bryce Young that was causing the team to lose? They seem to be inspired with Andy Dalton in there. He had a great game last week. Can he do it 2 weeks in a row? I'm not so sure. The Bengals, this is a must-win for them. If they lose this, the season's over. So I think they find a way to win, even though they are on the road. The quarterback ranks here. It's hard to know what Andy Dalton's going to be able to do, whether he can be consistent 2 weeks in a row. Joe Burrow has played pretty well, even though the teams have lost. Their defense is awful. So could be a close game. I do think the Bengals will win and cover. The Broncos against the Jets. I got the Jets, but I don't think they're going to cover. I think the Broncos have a very good defense. They found something last week against the Buccaneers. Bo Nix playing pretty well, even though he's ranked number 29 as a quarterback right now. His last week performance shows that he can be much better than that. Their power ranking's 22. The Jets, on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers ranked number 4, and the Jets overall ranked number 13. I think their defense will be too much for Bo Nix. I think their offensive line is going to protect Aaron Rodgers again. He picked the Patriots apart. It was surgical. I think he'll do something similar here to the Broncos, but it'll be tougher for him because the Broncos' defense is better. The Saints against the Falcons. I think you might be right on this one, picking the Saints, but I'm going with the Falcons. principally because they're at home. The stats say that the Saints should win this game. Their power ranking is 10. The Falcons is 20. The quarterback rating, Carr has done well this year. Didn't look so good last week. But Cousins is 18. Cousins rusty in his first game. Never played a snap in the preseason. It showed in his first game. Has played much better since then. I like the Falcons principally because they're at home. And I think it will be a very close game, but I do have the Falcons covering. This one was a very hard pick for me. The Vikings against Green Bay. The Vikings ranked number 3 in the power rankings now, and with Brian Flores, a defensive coordinator, being brilliant so far this year, and Sam Darnold finding his legs now. They say now you can't really judge a quarterback until they've been in the league 4, 5, 6 years because it's such a complicated game now. It takes these guys a long time to really get comfortable and learn the NFL game, and Darnold seems to have done that with O'Connell as his mentor. He's ranked number 8. If Willis plays, he's ranked number 23. He's looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, and I give that to their coach LaFleur, who I think is one of the best coaches in the league. He found a scheme that worked well for Willis. Willis even got comfortable in the passing game, had some nice throws. But maybe Jordan Love will be able to go. We'll see. He's questionable. If I were the Packers, I might give him one more week's rest, given the way Willis has played. It would be a different scheme than the Vikings would be looking for, and it might work for the Packers. I got the Packers winning, covering the point spread. Again, principally because they're playing at home. I think this one will be very close. It could go either way. The Jaguars against the Texans. I think the Texans are prohibitive favorite, sort of indicated by the point spread, 6.5. I think they'll cover. The Jaguars are horrible. I'm sorry. Their defense stinks. Trevor Lawrence, he got $55 million contract. Come on. For this year, the way he's playing, I don't know whether he's really, is he a number 1 quarterback? He's had some spotty performances. His first year, he didn't look good. He looked good the first year he was with Peterson, and they made the playoffs. But last year, he didn't look good after he got hurt. And he was hurt a couple of times. I give him that. But he didn't play through that well. They went 1-5 in the end of the season. Now they're 0-3 so far this year. I think they're going to lose again. I think that C.J. Stroud, ranked number 6, and the Texans power ranking at number 6 is going to be way too much for the Jaguars, and they're playing at home. So I like the Texans to cover. The Steelers against the Colts. I pick the Steelers right every week, and I think I'll pick them right again to win this game. Cover the 1.5 point spread. I'm surprised the point spread is this low because Richardson is ranked number 25 as a quarterback. The Colts' overall power ranking, though, at 18 is actually nowhere near the Steelers, ranked at number 9, principally because they got such a great defense. Justin Fields playing much better this year, not making mistakes, playing within himself, being coached well by Arthur Smith, who mixes up the run and the pass really well. Fields really wasn't he'd been a game manager in his first couple of games, but last week he really played an important role in that win. His quarterback ranking at number 20, I think he'll be moving up, and I like the Steelers to win this game. The Rams against the Bears, I'm picking the Rams, even though, as you say, they're banged up. They did beat the 49ers, being banged up. They have Matthew Stafford, who's ranked number 12. They're going against Caleb Williams, who's ranked number 28. Their power ranking for the Rams, number 19, and the Bears ranked number 24. We've talked a lot about the Bears on Tuesday. I just don't see them winning more than 4 games now this year. I had them initially at 5, but now I think it's 4. That all depends on Williams. If he really finds himself and makes a difference, then maybe they win a few more games, and maybe they could win this one. But I don't think so. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a good game against the Bears, and I think L.A. finds a way to win this game. The Eagles against the Buccaneers. I like the Eagles in this game. The point spread only 1.5. I think they'll cover that. I think the Buccaneers, I thought they were a much better team than they showed last week. How did they lose to the Broncos the way they did? They got really kind of blown out. They weren't in the game after halftime. And Baker Mayfield, ranked number 11, having a good year so far. The Buccaneers are a pretty strong team, ranked number 15 in the power rankings. Jalen Hurts, ranked number 17, not ranked as high as Mayfield, principally because he throws interceptions into the end zone. When he gets in the red zone, he makes mistakes. Come on, you can't do that. Why? How do you justify that, being one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league and get in the red zone and throw those interceptions? Not good. But fortunately, he's surrounded by a lot of other good players, particularly Saquon Barkley, which is reflected in that power ranking, which is number 5. I think they find a way to win on the road. The Patriots in San Francisco. San Francisco, prohibitive favorite. I don't know if Debo's coming back. I heard he might. It doesn't really matter that much. Patriots have no offensive line. The defense got exposed by the Jets last week. Brock Purdy is also capable of picking apart the Patriots the way Aaron Rodgers did. San Francisco, 10.5 point spread there. I think they're going to cover. And I think that, as you say, we're going to see Drake May for a chunk of this game because the Patriots are going to be way behind before the end of the third quarter. The Commanders against the Cardinals. Jaden Daniels, he looks good, man. His quarterback ranking, number 16 now for a rookie. That's pretty good. And he's ranked, his quarterback ranking is pretty good for a guy who's a rookie and was the Heisman Trophy winner. Going up against Kyler Murray, who has found himself again. Maybe it's because he's got a nice wide receiver there in Marvin Harrison Jr. He's ranked number 9. However, the Commanders' overall power ranking much higher than the Cardinals. They're at 16, while the Cardinals at 23. I'm still picking the Cardinals to win this game. They show me something in the passing game. I think Murray is rebounded here. He's having a very good year. They're playing at home. I think they find a way to cover the point spread and beat the Commanders this week. The Kansas City Chiefs against the Los Angeles Chargers. I like the Chiefs to win. They're the defending Super Bowl champ. Despite not playing their best offense, and as you said, Mahomes not looking that great, he is ranked number 2, and their power ranking is number 1, whereas Herbert ranked number 14 and has a high ankle sprain, and their power ranking at 14. I think that's a prohibitive favorite, and I look for the Chiefs to win and cover the point spread at -7. The Cleveland Browns against the Los Angeles Raiders. Now,
Las Vegas Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Are you switching this pick?
I am.
Because the point spread literally is just inverted. It's Browns -1.5.
I'm going to pick the Browns, even though I can't stand the Browns. I really have not liked them for quite a long time. I mean, they're both teams are poor. And plus, Antonio Pierce going off on his players in front of the media, saying they were thinking about their business contracts, business decisions.
Yeah.
And Jack Jones, I think, was the player that he was singling out. Jack Jones came out and said, "I wasn't doing that." You know, he's kind of an oddball player. He got released by the Patriots, and now he's with the Raiders. Sometimes he has some good games, but he's somewhat of a head case. So I think Antonio Pierce is going to regret that. He's got 2 of his best players are out. I think this will be a ugly game to watch, but I do think Deshaun Watson will find a way to win this game and cover beat the point spread there. So you'll switch that one for me.
I will, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, Buffalo against the Ravens. We talked about this one. It's going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. It's too bad it's Sunday night. You have to stay up so late to work the next day. That's tough, but I will be staying up to watch this one. I love watching Lamar Jackson play. I love watching Josh Allen play. I think it's going to be I don't think it's a shootout because both teams have good defenses, but even though Josh Allen's ranked number 1 and the power rankings number 2, and Jackson's ranked number 3 and their power rankings 8, I think that the Ravens find a way to win because they're at home. And they need this win a lot more than the Bills do. I mean, they're still only 2-2. If they want to, they need the bye in the playoff. That means they kind of have to win out. And that's going to be hard for them to do because they've got a tough schedule and they're in a tough division. So they got to. I think they kind of look at this game as kind of a must-win, and I think they find a way to win it and cover the point spread. The battle of the terrible teams here with the Titans and the Dolphins. The battle of the terribles. The Titans ranked number 32 in the power ranking, and the Dolphins, I'm surprised, at 25. I think they're worse than that, actually. Will Levis can't make enough mistakes. He's made some bad mistakes, man. And he's ranked number 30th in the quarterback ranking. But Skylar Thompson ranked number 32. But he only played one game, and he got hurt in that game. Who knows who's going to be the quarterback? They might be better off just snapping it to a running back every play and just run the ball. They have very good running backs. Maybe they'll put some of that Wildcat offense in for this game. I don't know. I think it might benefit them. I'm picking the Dolphins. I think they're both terrible. I think it's going to be an ugly game. But the Dolphins at home, I think they find a way to win. And finally, the Seattle Seahawks against the Lions. As you said, the Lions haven't looked like world beaters. We both have them going deep into the playoffs this year. Maybe it ain't going to happen. Jared Goff ranked 19 right now. The power ranking, though, number 4 for the Lions, which is very good. The Saints, though, the Seahawks, they look good. Their offense looks great. They got great wide receivers. Geno Smith ranked number 13 in the quarterback ranking, and their power ranking number 11. I think it's going to be very close. It could be an upset by the Seahawks in this game, but I'm taking the Lions because they're at home, and I think they'll cover the point spread. And those are my picks.
I don't hate them.
I don't hate them. Well, thank you.
I think the Green Bay Minnesota one.
That was a tough one. I may be wrong on that one.
I know. I think that. I mean, think
Lambeau
about
Field.
And
That's an advantage.
Think about how great Matt LaFleur has done with Malik Willis. Literally picked him up in late August for a 7th round pick.
And won 2 games.
Won 2 games and looked great in both of those games.
Yeah.
No crucial mistakes, no real mistakes at all. Running the offense very efficiently, running the football very well in
Throwing
totality.
it well last week.
Throwing it very well too. I think the way Matt LaFleur has coached Malik Willis to play very well is incredibly impressive. But Brian Flores has that defense playing, man. The Vikings have had one of the worst defenses the past few years, and now all of a sudden it's like, my God!
I really think Brian Flores should be a head coach.
He's got the lawsuit.
Got dissed in Miami.
Well,
he was treated poorly. He deserves to be a head coach again.
Well,
I bet he will be. If the
I agree with that last
Vikings go deep in the playoffs and it's because of their defense, he'll get a job next year.
Well, right now he has a lawsuit against the NFL. Tua came out and said that he was not a good coach to him, very disrespectful, very rude to him. So he's got that going, but he did come out immediately and apologize for it. But I completely agree with you. I think that Brian Flores, with this performance, does deserve to be a head coach. Going to maybe switch up his coaching style when he becomes a head coach in a sense of player to player. I think that would be very beneficial for him. But the Rams and the Bears, I'm still shocked that the Rams are 3-point underdogs.
I know. I don't understand that either.
The Bears can't win. They can't do anything.
The Bears have been favored in most of their games at the point spread wise, and they can't cover.
No, not at all. I think it's that time, though, as always. I do this every single week. The Harvey Hot Hand brought to you by Dr. Squatch. Using the link down below, go to drsquatch.com. You get $10 off orders of $20 or more for our new customers. We went 3-2 again last week. Once again, winning week. I'll take every winning week I can get. We're still making money over here. There's a lot of parity in the NFL. I think last year, a lot of the bettors were winning. Vegas was losing a lot, and that helped me get to a 61% win percentage. But this year looks like there's a lot of parity. Can't exactly pinpoint what teams are great, what teams are terrible, what teams may upset other teams. But this week, I think it's going to be a little bit different because stick to what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is exactly how I'm introducing my first pick.
Steelers at Colts.
What have we seen from the Steelers? Really, really good defense. What have we seen from the Colts? Horrible offense. Anthony Richardson has played terribly. He's the fourth worst passer rating when pressured, but he's pressured the eighth fewest times. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, their pressure rate is incredible. They are number 5 in quarterback pressure rates. They also do a great job against the run. Meanwhile, the Colts do a bad job against the run. They give up the most rushing yards per game. Guess what? Najee Harris can have a great game. Who do they have as a quarterback the Steelers do? Justin Fields. Will there be some design runs? I'm sure. Right now, Justin Fields, I think right now, no one wants to say it, especially in the Pittsburgh organization, that I think Justin Fields now has the pole position to keep that starting job. This is his job to lose. The Colts did a terrible job against the run defense going up against the Green Bay Packers. Najee Harris, really, because Jalen Warren's out for this game, I think it'll be quarterback runs and Najee Harris doing a great job. But yeah, no, this offense is not the story for the Steelers. It's just playing really efficiently, and that's good enough for me. If you're playing efficiently enough to win, I'll take that through and through. When it comes down to the defense, though, disrupt Anthony Richardson. He has played terrible. The Steelers' defense has forced 4 interceptions this season. Richardson leads the league in interceptions with 6. This is going to be the story. The Steelers' defense with TJ Watt, who, if I had an MVP pick, he would be in my top 3, if not number 2, because I do think Josh Allen deserves to be the MVP. But TJ Watt has absolutely wreaked havoc all over every single offense he's played so far. I'll take the Steelers to win and cover a -1.5 point spread. They win 21-17.
Eagles at Buccaneers.
This one, I think it's time for a revenge game. The Philadelphia Eagles will get the revenge against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs defense got picked apart by Bo Nix, who couldn't play very well in his first few games. He did not look like an NFL quarterback. The Bucs have given up at least 136 rushing yards a game this season. 136. The defense can't stop the run whatsoever. This is a revenge game, though, for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, because they absolutely got shellacked by Baker Mayfield, who looked like an MVP candidate in that playoff game last year. And here's really why I'm betting. This is the big number here. The Eagles have covered 8 straight games when the point spread is between +3 and -3. 8 straight games. And I think the Eagles right now, they're the better team. Baker Mayfield right now is up and down. Eagles, on the other hand, they need to play more consistently on offense. Jalen Hurts, since Shane Steichen left, very turnover prone. But I think right now, you'll have A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Saquon Barkley. I understand Lane Johnson, who knows how if he's going to be playing in this game. Jalen Hurts does play significantly worse when Lane Johnson's out. But now that you have Saquon Barkley, I think it's hands down time for Saquon to absolutely cook and prove to the Giants why it was a mistake not paying him the extra $250,000, which is a lot generally, but when it comes to the NFL, it's not really that much. You should have paid him. That's another revenge game for Saquon Barkley. The Eagles win and cover a -1.5 point spread. They win 27-24.
Rams at Bears.
This one, I don't know why the Rams are in favorite here. I understand the Rams are banged up, but so are the Chicago Bears. Now, some people are getting healthy, but think about this. The running attack for the Bears is non-existent. If you combine all the running backs alone and add their yards per carry, it's 2.3. With DeAndre Swift, who everybody thought was a great pickup because of his time during the Eagles, where the Eagles had the best offensive line in the NFL, or at least the top 3 offensive line. That was the big question. How will DeAndre Swift do with a bad offensive line that the Bears have? And so far, it's been an absolute disaster. But think about this. 363 passing yards and 2 touchdowns for Caleb Williams, with Anthony Richardson throwing 2 picks, a 50% completion percentage, was not enough for the Bears to win. 363 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and the other quarterback turning it over like it's nobody's business, handing you the game, and for some reason you couldn't grasp it and win. That's bad. Meanwhile, the Rams, look what just happened. Their team was held together by duct tape, and they were picking people off the street to play for them, and they beat what a lot of people expect to be a Super Bowl competing team in the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, a couple of their key players were hurt. Oh, God forbid. The NFL's deepest team gets banged up a little bit. Now they become an average team. So the 49ers are such a great team. What the Rams did was incredibly impressive, because the Rams are already a great team. You're a good team. You get banged up, you're a bad team. The 49ers are a phenomenal team. You get banged up, now you're an average team. Juwan Jennings did a great job. It was a great performance to see. He had a phenomenal catch in that game. But what the Rams did, that deserves several rounds of applause here. But I think the key here is that the Rams have the 7th best pressure rate in the NFL at 38.9%. Williams, when he's pressured, and around there, like in week 1, for instance, he had no touchdowns, 2 picks, and 4 yards an attempt. The pressure gets to him, as they do for all rookie quarterbacks. I think it's going to be the same story here. Rams get the upset, plus 3-point spread. They win 23-20. I believe in Matt Stafford. Some disrespect out there for him. I don't understand it. Matt Stafford gets the upset win and continues a very impressive streak with his top talent right now on injury reserve. The next game.
Titans at Dolphins.
This one, again, I don't know why they're not favored. The Tennessee Titans, I understand Will Levis has a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but I think when it comes down to it, the Dolphins are starting Tyler Huntley, Tim Boyle, or Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson wouldn't be 100% even if he's cleared. He's dealing with a rib injury. Tyler Huntley, career backup. Tim Boyle, career backup. I mean, I don't understand. Somehow the Dolphins are favored in this game. I understand they're at home, but come on here. The Titans are 5th in total defense. The only way that the Titans could absolutely get screwed over is if Will Levis does what Will Levis has been doing. Self-inflicted wounds where he thinks he needs to become Superman in order to win here. If Will Levis just cuts down on the turnovers, cuts down on the bad decision-making, and just hands the ball off, does short plays, keeps the clock rolling, the Titans should be able to win this game. I'll take them in an upset win, and they win 14-10 over the Miami Dolphins. They scored 3 points last week. I can't pick them to win here. I'm sorry. The final game. This one is the risky one.
Vikings at Packers.
I got to choose the better defense here. What am I looking at? I don't know what the Vikings are. They're a great defense coached by a great defensive coordinator, and Kevin O'Connell somehow took the terrible out of Sam Darnold. Now, he is a little bit reckless here and there, but when it comes down to it, the larger picture, Sam Darnold leads the NFL right now in passing touchdowns. Jordan Love is questionable right now. He's a game-time decision, but even if he gets cleared and does play in this game, he won't be 100% whatsoever. Meanwhile, Brian Flores is blitzing the hell out of everybody. I mean, think about this. And what do the Packers do great to minimize the impact the quarterback has when it comes to the Green Bay Packers? Malik Willis doesn't need to do a lot because Josh Jacobs and the running attack is super beneficial. Well, the Minnesota Vikings are 3rd in rush yards allowed so far this season. They're 1st in drives ending in a score for opposing teams. No team scores against them. So it's going to come down to, really, who scores last, who has the ball last, and who could score. They have the 2nd fewest points allowed. They're 1st in hurries, 1st in blitzes called, 1st in pressures, 3rd in quarterback knockdowns. The defense is terrorizing any offense that it comes into. I mean, think about the past couple weeks we've seen Daniel Jones, right? He looks okay. Not great, not really that good, but okay. He looks passable. In week 1, we had a topic. He looked terrible. He couldn't see the field. He was getting actually, technically, the pressure rate wasn't that high. But it just seems like he was seeing ghosts, not seeing open receivers. I'm sure a lot of Giants fans, I talked to one throughout the game. He was basically wanting to tear his hair out of his head. I mean, he was incredibly frustrated, and that's because of Brian Flores' defense. I think what Sam Darnold has done has been incredible. He's on an absolute great streak with Kevin O'Connell. He's 1st in passing touchdowns, 4th in passer rating. He's the 4th highest grade quarterback according to Pro Football Focus. Sam Darnold has done a phenomenal job. It's just a question mark of how will Matt LaFleur do? I'm taking the Vikings here. Vikings get the upset. They win 24-21. I just feel like no matter what, Will Levis will get pressured, and I think that'll minimize his effectiveness. And if Jordan Love's out there, the pressure will really get to him because I don't think he'll be 100%. I think it's a accelerated injury. What? I'm sorry, Malik Willis. Excuse me, and then Jordan Love. I apologize. Yeah, I think when it comes down to, though, the pressure's going to get to whatever quarterback is in the backfield for the Green Bay Packers. But I'll take the Vikings to win 24-21, and those are my picks. Steelers, Eagles. I picked all away teams right now. Every single away team I picked. Steelers are favored on the road. Eagles are favored on the road. I picked the Rams in an upset on the road. Titans in an upset. I'm putting quotes around that. And I'm choosing the Vikings. I got all away teams winning here.
Well, those are interesting, Nate. I was wondering why. I think there are 3 easier picks out there. The Broncos-Jets game?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Pat Surtain has held every top receiver he's played to, I think, under 29 yards.
Okay. How about the San Francisco Patriots game?
Too high of a point spread.
Okay. And how about the Chiefs-Chargers game?
Too good of a defense. I don't know what I'm getting with the defense as
But how about Justin Herbert with the high ankle sprain?
He's right now amping up the play. He says he felt better now than he did at this point last week when we thought he would play the past week.
Okay, well, good luck.
The Steelers are just, what is going on with them?
They're great. I think they got the number 1 defense.
We say great, but they don't
score. They have a great offense. I think their offensive coordinator is good.
Arthur Smith
I
is
think
good.
he's minimized Justin Fields not making mistakes, playing okay in the fourth quarter. played well in the fourth quarter last week. That's a different Justin Fields. I like the Steelers. I think they look good. If T.J. Watt can stay healthy, hey, I think they're a playoff team now.
Yeah.
They're 3-0. They're one of the few teams that is undefeated.
Yeah. Harvey Hot Hand brought to you by Dr. Squatch. Use the link down below. Go to drsquatch.com/Nathan Harvey. Get $10 off. Or is it $20 or more for new customers? Thank you for helping out the show and supporting what we do here at the Harvey Hour. But yeah, when it comes down to it, that is the end of today's episode of the Harvey Hour. It could be actually history tonight if the White Sox fall to the Detroit Tigers. I said Detroit Lions. We're talking about football. The Detroit Tigers, they're going for 121 losses. Right now, bottom of the fifth, no outs. Score is 0-0 as it currently stands. Yeah, could see a lot of history in the making so far, but not the history that you want. Also, the Athletics just played their last game in Oakland. Ended up being a win. So they got a little bit of baseball sprinkled into the Harvey Hour.
Where are they going to be next year?
Las Vegas. I don't think it's next year. They're playing in San Francisco for the next 3 years, I believe.
Really?
And then they'll be going over to Las Vegas.
Huh. Interesting.
What I also find interesting, and this is really old news, the Oklahoma City Thunder would give up their history, essentially, if a team goes to Seattle and becomes the Seattle Supersonics again. So they would basically their history would start after the move. They would not...
Oh, they would change their name to the Seattle Supersonics?
No. What I mean is that when they moved to Oklahoma City, they still retain the history of the Seattle Supersonics. I believe the Supersonics won a championship. That gets right now accredited to the Oklahoma City Thunder. If a team moves to Seattle, that gets stripped from because they aren't the Supersonics anymore. The Supersonics are now a team in the NBA again. So they would get the credit then for that.
So where is Oklahoma? They're going to move to Seattle?
No, they're not. If a team moved to Seattle, if a team moved to Seattle,
they wouldn't have the
and they were the Supersonics.
Okay, is that happening? There might be an expansion
NBA
team.
wants it seems like every single major sport league wants to move. We see the NFL getting hopefully an international league going. They're going to Brazil now. They also England, of course, Germany. They're going all over the place. So the NFL, they used to have an NFL Europe way back when, in the early 2000s and late 1990s.
There should be some of those games coming up here pretty soon.
Yes.
Right?
Well, we already had one, which was the Week 1 Friday game,
right.
Eagles-Packers. But yeah, no, there's a couple games that are coming up relatively soon to be played international. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, we thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting the show as always. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the hosts of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Tuesday. We're going to be recapping all these games of Week 4. Some of the top tier games. We're going to be talking. Probably we'll see how the Seahawks-Lions game. We might talk about that, but definitely Bills-Ravens. Any upsets, I'm sure. We'll see what happens with the Pittsburgh Steelers in that quarterback situation. That's probably one of the biggest headlines in the NFL right now. Who the hell knows what's going to be happening? I'm sure Russell Wilson isn't really happy about that. But as it stands, we'll be talking about Week 4 on Tuesday. Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Right on YouTube. We'll be live.
Good night, Grandpa.
Traveling can be a nightmare. Why? You can't watch your favorite shows abroad. You can't trust public Wi-Fi spots anymore. And when you return, roaming bills kill your vibe. Unless you get a NordVPN and Saley deal. NordVPN will increase your privacy online. And Saley, a global eSIM data app, will save you from those unexpected roaming charges. Grab the 2-year NordVPN deal with 76% off and get up to 20 gigabytes Saley eSIM data gift.